one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
They've had every opportunity to make this right. And they won't. And I'm like holding my breath. I'm waiting for the other cleat to drop in Baltimore. Like, are you guys going to do it now?
Yeah, I might send him a bouquet.
Seriously.
Because Skip, here's the thing, okay? He comes in, Flacco's playing, Flacco get hurt, he playing bad anyway. He comes in, he leads them to the playoffs. The next year, he wins the MVP. The next year, he takes them back to the playoffs and wins the playoff game. So what else do you need to see before you give this man his money? So he plays last year, okay? You don't give him his money. And now, you're in the playoff with Lamar. We in the playoff, bro. Ooh, we good, Lamar. No, we not good. And we not going to be good until you break bread. Make the money right.
The Super Bowl was played, a champion was crowned, a parade was had. The NFL season was concluded, but the NFL, bro, much like time, it don't stop. Always going. Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I am your host, Saint. We got a lot to talk. Bro, I'm kind of mad, bro. I'm not even going to stunt with you, bro. I'm not really that mad. I'm high as a kite, but listen. Somebody made me a cake, and the cake, I'm just not happy. But listen, how's everybody doing out there today, yo? Me and my dudes we was leaving work and we had to decide if we was gonna pull a double today. Every single one of us was like, man, we just ain't feeling it today, and we dispersed and went home. That's how it literally be sometimes. But with that being said, how's everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a dope day. We got a lot to talk about. Talk about Eric Bieniemy. Talk about Lamar Jackson in the offensive court. We got a lot of hires. I hope I don't forget none of them. But I want to start off with Eric Bieniemy. Because, you know, I meant to do this video earlier, but I guess I took a 2-day break, I guess you would say. Either way, you ain't gonna see the tap dancing on this subject like I saw this morning on Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max from Jay Williams and Keyshawn Johnson. You're not gonna see the tap dancing that they was doing this morning. The Eric Bieniemy thing is always interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because like Max said this morning, I ask myself all the time, and this is probably why I'm so passionate about the subject. Every time I think of Eric Bieniemy, I ask myself, if he was a white man, would he not have had a head coaching opportunity by now? And it's just simple. If he was white, he would have been a head coach by now. It's just as simple as that. You cannot convince me that if Eric Bieniemy was not a white man with the exact same resume right now, that he would not have been a head coach. And you look at the dudes and people, you know, the goalposts, it's so hard to have a conversation about Eric Bieniemy because you got so many people who so willing to try to argue against Eric Bieniemy and tell you that it's not this, it's not that. And I tell my homies at work all the time, dumb shit sounds smart to dumb asses. All right. Critical thinking is something that people just do not want to do nowadays. So if somebody says something with any type of conviction and you don't feel like, you know, if it can touch your soul and you don't feel like you need to research it, then boom, it's going to sound smart to you. That's why you got a bunch of these dummies following Kanye saying everything he say is smart. Because a dumb person can spew a bunch of dumb shit and it'll sound like gold to a dumb ass. It's just how it go. And so when I'm looking at all these, you got to listen to all these other people and all these other analysts talk about Bieniemy and whatnot. And it's very simple to me, you know, how the goalpost is moved and things like that. But do we play call and, you know, all these other type of things that you don't put on other offensive coordinators. And then they try to use well, you know, this black dude got hired. Yeah, because it's always one black guy that's outperformed expectations and get an opportunity. We done seen that. Rob Salah was one of them. And he usually have to be attached to a offensive guru, even though Raheem Mostert still can't get that opportunity because he ain't the dude right now. That's just how it go. And he don't want to take a raggedy job where he knows no chance of winning no time soon. And then people say, well, Byron Leftwich could have had the Jaguars job, but he wasn't given what he wanted in order to be successful. They gave Doug Peterson what he wanted. So I'm very confused. Mind you, I told you the Jags was making the playoffs regardless of who was coaching them next year because they was going to be a far better team as long as they got a competent head coach because they got the best quarterback in that division. But you look at all the different excuses they make for why Eric Bieniemy can't get a job. And I'm telling you, nowadays when you hear people talk about the play calling, I mean, I'm pretty sure you all watch other sports shows. So I know you done heard, you know, multiple analysts like Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith run down the list of all the multiple OCs that have gotten jobs and not called head plays. Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy got head coaching jobs after being OCs for Andy Reid and not calling plays. And I never seen Andy Reid go to bat for those two like he go to bat for Bieniemy. I also never seen Andy Reid win a Super Bowl until, people say, oh, he didn't win until he got Mahomes. Mahomes and Bieniemy arrived at the same time. Bieniemy became the OC. Pat Mahomes became the starter. And that's what led to the success. And ever since that moment, Andy Reid a 2-time champion. Now, for anybody else, and this is why I tell you all the time, bro, one of my problems with analysts, sports analysts, is they don't give you the whole breakdown. They break down the shit that they hate. So they'll give you, like, if they don't like somebody, they're going to make sure they give you every type of negative stat they can give you. Even if those negative stats make absolutely no difference to what you feel like your eyes is telling you, they'll tear them apart. But when they so-so or don't care for somebody, like Eric, when they don't really care to go to bat for Eric Bieniemy, they're not going to bring up those type of stats. The Andy Reid. And, you know, we give Andy Reid so much credit. And I love Andy Reid. I was alive watching him when he was with the Eagles as their head coach. He didn't win a Super Bowl with none of those Eagles teams. He got to one and lost to the Patriots. Didn't win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs either until Eric Bieniemy and Pat Mahomes became OC and quarterback, starting quarterback. But you give Pat Mahomes the credit, rightfully so, and all the credit to Andy Reid. And like I said, no other white coordinator in that position would that be overlooked with. You look at the dudes who've been hired from under Sean McVay. They don't call plays. You look at the dudes that's been hired from under Kyle Shanahan. They don't call plays. But you still hire those guys because you feel like, I don't think it's you feel like they can lead your team. You feel like they can lead your team, but you also comfortable with them. You can sit and talk with them. All those different type of things. And this is why until somebody come in and go, and it's always a problem when this good old boys club continue to be ungoverned. As long as they continue to be ungoverned by an outside source, then this is going to continue to happen. Dudes with this type of resumes will continue to be looked over and have to go. And one of the things that irritate me the most about the Eric Bieniemy thing is, when in life are you required to be as great as Eric Bieniemy is his job? But in order to get a better job, you got to take less, step down, and take a worse position. A worse position is him going to any team that's not Pat Mahomes. Like, now I got to go be the OC for Washington, possibly. They don't even have a quarterback. Now he got to go be the OC for Washington, or a team that's nowhere near as good or have the pieces in place like a Kansas City. And now he got to go work magic, even though he not the GM. He not the head coach. But you going to put those type of responsibilities on EB when he get a new opportunity, just to say, oh, see, that's why he couldn't get a head coaching job. You see how quick it is for people to tear down EB and his qualifications and his resume. But you don't do that for these other white head coaches. I don't see nobody I've yet to see anybody say Tom Brady is why Josh McDaniels was successful. Even though that's the case, he still got 2 head coaching. He was a head coach with Denver, failed. Come back to New England. You give him all the credit for Tom Brady. He get a job with the Raiders. Wasn't good. He had a quarterback. He had weapons. Still wasn't good there. I don't see nobody saying, oh, you know what? He was only good because of Brady. He still got an opportunity. Dan Campbell coming in as a coach out of nowhere, basically getting head coaching jobs, fired. And then you celebrate the fact that Dan Campbell went 9-8 this season. Jim Caldwell, a coach that went to a Super Bowl with one team and took the Lions to a 9-7 season, was fired. So I'm trying to understand this, the way you pick up this goalpost and just take off with it when it comes to everybody else. Because Mike McDaniels didn't call plays. Head coach for the Miami Dolphins. Like, I'm just trying to understand how all these other dudes that you feel like are qualified can get opportunities. And not only do you feel like they can fail and not be held to the standard that Eric Bieniemy is about to be held to on the next team he go to, which is why I hope he don't fuck around and go to the Washington Commanders, because I do not see success with Washington if they don't go get a quarterback. It's just as simple as that. You can't ask that man to do the job of everybody else and then put that on him just because you feel like, oh, I'm tired of people trying to argue for Eric Bieniemy. That's wild. When it's not you, somebody you love, somebody you're related to, you can care less about their plights. He make enough money. It's crazy. But that's the thing that bothered me the most about this. Eric Bieniemy shouldn't have to go take a lesser job in order to prove himself. That's ridiculous. When you look at the number of head coaches, that is Zach Taylor. And look at how many of these head coaches is allowed to fail forward. Meaning they can fail until they get a quarterback. You think they're going to award Bieniemy that same type of time, or they're going to be killing him automatically? And then once they go get a quarterback, i.e. Zach Taylor, so all of a sudden people look at him as a great head coach. I don't even know if Zach Taylor's career record is over 500 yet. Or even, and if it is, it's got to be barely over that. I don't watch the other head coaches be successful without all-star quarterbacks, all-pro quarterbacks. But, you know, it's very interesting. Like I said, I feel bad for Eric Bieniemy because, I mean, you just have to imagine in your everyday life, bro. You are great at your job. You meet every qualifications. You've won at the highest level. You've been one of the biggest reasons your organization have been successful, and yet time after time after time, you have to watch people who are far less qualified than you get opportunities over you. And not only that, now the public get to just randomly start saying, oh, he had bad interviews possibly. Like, they get to start now attacking your character or making assumptions on your negative assumptions on your character because motherfuckers won't hire you for whatever wicked reasons they have. So it's all a lose-lose for Eric Bieniemy, because he go to a bad situation in Washington and don't have immediate success. Then they saying, oh, look at him. He go back to Kansas City. They saying, oh, see, he can't succeed without Andy Reid. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. We don't say that Andy Reid never won a Super Bowl before he got Eric Bieniemy as his OC. Nobody say that, even though that's the reality. So, and then, you know, you see how people saying, oh, well, you know, Matt Nagy not doing Andy Reid no favor. I mean, Eric Bieniemy no favors. What about Doug Peterson? Is he doing Bieniemy favors? Like what? The success of those two dudes, how's that predicated on? You know what I'm saying? And then it's weird that you immediately go to the one that had no success, even though Nagy was successful in his first season, but you just ignore the one who's had success in two different places. And I don't see us holding Belichick disciples to these standards. So, you know, like I said before, bro, this African-American men with the type of qualifications and resume that Eric Bieniemy have will consistently be passed over until some outside source is pulled in and forced to govern over these wicked individuals who run these football teams. Another thing is when you look at the way people talk about Eric Bieniemy, how they so quick to try to discredit Bieniemy. Same thing that happened with Lamar Jackson. You look at a quarterback with the resume of a Lamar Jackson. Baltimore was flat. I'm a Baltimore fan, so I know exactly what was going on in Baltimore before Lamar got there. This team was floundering. This team was about to become a bad team in search of a quarterback. And they lucked up and got him at the end of the first round. They didn't even plan on starting him. They probably didn't plan on starting him for a while. But Joe Flacco went down. The season was already in the bags, and they said, fuck it, we'll throw Lamar out there. And what do you know? The kid ended up winning 6 games in a row, getting you to the playoffs. The next year, in his first full season as a starter, you didn't go out and get him no real weapons, but he still won you in the unanimous MVP and got you to the playoffs again. The next year after that, got you to the playoffs again. The year after that, you was in with nothing coming into the season. All his running backs hurt. No receivers or nothing like that. He still had you in first place in the AFC until he got hurt. The year after that, he have you in first place once again in the AFC until he get hurt. What white quarterback could you give that resume to? And people would say, oh, you know, but I wouldn't pay him because he's injury prone or his play style. Mind you, both times Lamar Jackson has been hurt, both times has been in the pocket. Neither of the times he has been hurt has it been him on the run. Neither. Every time he has been hurt is because he was in the pocket trying to escape a sack or he just straight up got sacked. None of the times. And this is one of the things that bother me the most about Lamar Jackson, because clearly people don't watch him play. And when you watch highlights, the highlight person like to point out all the things, all his runs rather than his passes. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback who plays from the pocket. That's very evident when you watch him play. As a matter of fact, it's free to watch him play most of the time because Lamar Jackson usually on TV. So to continue to call him a quarterback who got to work on this from the pocket, when you don't do that for no other quarterback, specifically because they have receivers all the way around them, and when they don't, you point that out. You make sure you point that out. Lamar Jackson ain't been with a top-tier receiver since he been in the league. And I ain't seen most analysts point that out. Now, I'm starting to see most of the black analysts start to point that out. But then you got these other white analysts who still continue to make all these other reasons as to why he has not been successful or can't win. And it's tiresome because it's once again a goalpost being picked the fuck up and taken off with. Like, you don't hold quarterbacks to the standard, who's especially when they as young and as successful as Lamar Jackson. You don't knock those type of quarterbacks. But for some reason, because Joe Burrow and Josh Allen have been allowed to not only lose, to lose ugly. Lamar Jackson not only can't lose, but if he lose ugly, if Lamar Jackson, they've been allowed to lose ugly and win ugly. Lamar Jackson can't not only lose ugly or lose. If he win ugly, it's a problem. But people walk around and act as if it's no biasness between how they treat and talk about white quarterbacks and black quarterbacks. Oh, well, look how they talk about Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is the unquestioned best quarterback in football. If you still sitting around trying to argue as other people better than him, you're just a moron and a clear racist. But no fucking racist is going to be dumb enough to actually try to use, like, come on, bro. If you really stupid enough to go at Pat Mahomes, even though a lot of you try to put Joe Burrow over him, when I don't even think Joe Burrow, I'm not finna have this Joe Burrow conversation, but I think it's very, very, very interesting how we talk about quarterbacks raising they make the players around them better. And I think it's very weird that you could have all those all pros, Pro Bowl type level number one receivers surrounding Joe Burrow, and you could say that he raising their level of play. But when Lamar Jackson is yet to have a Pro Bowl level receiver, he done raised their levels of play every year he done played, and I don't hear nothing about that. But Baltimore done him right with the way they just cannot draft offense. Like, it's ridiculous. Brian Flores' lawsuit, bro, need to hit the NFL like crack in the 80s, bro. I'm telling you. Like, because this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, bro. Like, and I'm going to tell you where I'm kind of at with this Lamar shit. Because I watch football, bro. I watch a lot of football. And, you know, I realize to an extent, even though I feel like I say what I feel like I think, I'm not restricted by how the greater opinion feel, because I don't feel like most people's opinions is a thought out opinion based off of actually watching games and shit. But I don't like to interrupt the masses too much. But I'm almost at the point where I told you, to me, the best two quarterbacks in football is Lamar and Pat Mahomes. And I absolutely mean that, bruh. I truly believe one of the only dudes that's a true equal to Pat Mahomes is Lamar. Because he the only dude who I done seen do what he done been able to do. Bro, nobody should be doing what Lamar Jackson go out there and do on a yearly basis with the lack of talent that is around him. How do I know? Because I've seen no other team go out there and do it with lack of talent around them. Justin Herbert done had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler his entire career. He got one playoff appearance to show for it. One. I'm cool with y'all that said Lamar's greatest, because it's very evident to me, which is why I pray he get out of Baltimore. Because even if Baltimore come to him and say, man, we're going to pay you and we're going to get you weapons, I just don't believe it. You have 4 years to go out and get me weapons. You chose not to. Why would you go get them now that I'm on a higher contract? And you trying to make me... They offer this man less guaranteed money than what they offer in Kyler Murray. In what world will Lamar Jackson take less guaranteed money than Kyler Murray? That make absolutely no sense. Oh, well, Saint, it's still $133 million. It's still life-changing money. To you. Because you are not Lamar Jackson. You clearly don't understand value, worth. And that's why you are where you are and where he is where he is. He was willing to gamble on himself, and now he see what he worth. That's why these NFL players and these pro athletes don't ask fans for their advice when it come to doing contracts. Because you motherfuckers only care about the team winning, not players actually getting what they worth. And I can't wait till the day NFL contracts is all guaranteed. See, that's another problem I have with these owners. They mad that they don't want Lamar to go out there and get a fully guaranteed contract, but they the ones doing all the work. They the ones putting their bodies on the line. Oh, they write the checks. I don't give a damn. Your boss write the check and you still bitch every day you go to work. Football, the most physical sport out of all the professional sports. but they the ones who don't get the guaranteed money, the less amount of guaranteed money. That's insane. They make more money than any other league in the United States, and they get the less guaranteed money. How that makes sense? With baseball players signing the type of contracts they signing. And there ain't a soul who listen to my show that watching 182 games of baseball plus the playoffs. It ain't no shot. But let's talk about some of these hirings. The Ravens got Todd Monken from Georgia. Listen, bro, I can't tell you that I love the hire. I can't tell you I don't like the hire. He was a champion 2 times over in college football. His offense averaged 40 points a game, I believe. He turned Stetson Bennett into a viable college quarterback. A lot of goods. He wasn't great in his first stint in the NFL that well. He did a decent job in Cleveland with the running backs, but if you could turn, I'll lean towards if you can. I'm you know how I feel about college football. If you watch this show, if you don't, I'm not a college football fan. I don't think that is actually football. I don't think that's a simulation of what happened in the NFL. That's not football. So, obviously you got some teams that look more like a football team than others, but college football is a joke to me. The national championship game was proof of that between Georgia and TCU. Nonetheless, I find it hard to believe that Lamar decided this, and maybe I'm tripping, but I don't know why Lamar would pick him over Eric Bieniemy. Like, if Eric Bieniemy got to go take another OC job to do what I've never seen another OC have to do, why in God's name would Lamar Jackson request a dude that's coming from college over a dude who's been coaching Pat Mahomes and won 2 Super Bowls, been to 5 AFC championships, and 3 Super Bowls, won 2? Like, why would I choose Todd over Bieniemy? That makes no sense to me. Like, maybe they took everything that Lamar said he wanted and then they made the pick. Because it's just hard for me to believe a quarterback in the NFL that did not play under Todd Monken in Georgia would want him over Eric Bieniemy. But maybe I'm tripping. But anything at this point could be better than Greg Roman. Because Greg Roman's, and I really don't blame Greg Roman, because you only going to do what you're allowed to do. All right, so Baltimore let that man stick around for as long as he did. The offense became as stagnant as it did. I don't even want to say the offense became stagnant. It became solely reliant on Lamar Jackson. It no longer was a quarterback and a scheme and his OC. It was just Lamar Jackson and his talent. And whatever he could figure out what to do, that's what happened. But on most days, it was just him, Lamar against the defense. It wasn't OC play by Greg Roman. When Lamar got hurt, then he started having to call plays, and you saw what the offense did. So, to me, I don't necessarily blame Greg Roman. I just think Greg Roman was allowed the longest of leashes in the NFL because of Baltimore's wicked ways. They want to zig when everybody else zag, and they ain't won a championship. But you got bozos like Emmanuel Acho who will get on TV and make it seem as though, mind you, people keep saying, oh, you could just win with any quarterback. Joe Flacco had a legendary postseason that year. If you watch football, you would know Joe Flacco was actually a great quarterback in the playoffs. To try to make this thing where Super Bowls are won by teams with average quarterbacks on a routine basis is just absolutely a fucking lie. And for Emmanuel Acho to continue to push this narrative that Baltimore would be better without Lamar Jackson, I don't know what this dude's problem with Lamar Jackson is. He tear down and nitpick Lamar Jackson every single opportunity he get. He has literally never not taken an opportunity to shade Lamar Jackson. But I'm not surprised because, listen, that's what the entire media do at this point. But it is what it is. Todd Monken might not even have Lamar Jackson because who knows if Lamar Jackson is still going to be a Baltimore Raven going into the next season. But another hire was the Colts hired the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, and the Cardinals hired a defensive coordinator for the Eagles. I find it very interesting that the Eagles coordinator only needed one good year to be hired as the head coach in Indy. But Bieniemy needed to now go to another team and prove himself all over again. Never mind the Eagles OC just had Jalen Hurts, the best offensive line in football, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. Like, never mind that he had all that at his disposal. But, very interesting. And never mind all the talent that the DC had on his side of the ball. But I ain't going to shade a defensive dude for getting a job, because it's hard for defensive coordinators to get jobs in this NFL landscape nowadays. But listen, good hires, I guess. We'll see. I just find it very interesting. A hire that I actually do think is a great hire, and I'm not saying those two hires is bad, but one hire that I know for a fact is going to be a good hire is the Vikings got defensive coordinator Brian Flores, bro. That is going to be a good hire, because Brian, and you know what might be a better bro, Steve Wilkes got hired as the DC and with the 49ers. I know both of those hires going to pay dividends immediately. The hire that might even be as good as them two is Rex Ryan could possibly get the DC job in Denver. All three of those dudes are great defensive minds. All three of those dudes have made differences for the defenses that they take over. So I'm excited about every single one of those hires. I think those is great moves. Denver haven't made that move official yet, but if they do, that is a great move by Denver. I'm still very firm on the belief that I would not want to play for Sean Payton. But it is what it is. All I'm saying is he done coached old people for far too long, bro. And I understand he had Michael Thomas, but Michael Thomas and him didn't vibe. I don't know how his relationship with Alvin Kamara was, but he had a lot of old players on them Saints teams. That's all I know. So he might have had young dudes, but he got to live around old school type of, dudes who he done had basically their entire careers. It's a new NFL. The Denver Broncos paid Sean Payton a lot of money, and I don't think they just paid him. Bro, obviously you think you're going to get good results, but you paid Sean Payton because his name's Sean Payton. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like, people said Nathaniel Hackett wouldn't work out, which didn't shock me because I didn't think that was going to work out either. I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Payton don't work out. Bro, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson not working out won't shock me, because if Russell Wilson understand how bad he played last year, but Russell Wilson not finna go into the season saying to himself, I'm a rookie quarterback who can be treated and talked to any way possible. I'm still a Hall of Fame quarterback that's done been to 2 Super Bowls, won one. So it's a level of respect that Russell Wilson as a player demands, just like Sean Payton feel like it's a level of respect that he demands. So if Sean Payton going, as there is with other players, if Sean Payton going into this organization like, y'all been losing, so I'm finna lay down the law, bro, when has that ever worked in the NFL, bro? Even a Sean Payton is not going to be able to get away with that because you think he will. But at the end of the day, you need players. And if you got players who in your organization who don't want to play because the head coach, and it become a trend, I don't care how much the Walmart family paid Sean Payton. His ass going to be up out of there too. It's just the nature of the beast. I don't care how close his relationship is with him. If he continue to have if Sean Payton don't adapt to being able to not just coach young dudes, but be around these young dudes, then it's going to be a rough patch in Denver. And it could get rough because you still got Pat Mahomes in your division. So I'm interested in the Sean Payton hire. The more and more I think about that hire, because that is a very interesting hire. That is a very interesting hire. But with that being said, wait a minute. Did I cover all the hires? Oh, and the hire with the DC for the Eagles and with the Cardinals. That's an interesting hire because, listen, I will continue to be baffled by teams going after a defensive coordinator for your head coaching position, especially when you feel like you got the quarterback in place. Like, I don't really know what to expect. Because, for one, the Cardinals' defense might get better, but the Eagles' defensive coordinator, it's not like his defense was great because of his play calling. They had a lot of talent on that Eagles team. I don't know if he's going to come into the Cardinals team and immediately make them a better defense because they don't have the talent on their defense that the Eagles have. I also don't know if he's going to come in because Kyler Murray is going to miss probably the first couple months of the season. He's not the leader or the player that Jalen Hurts is, clearly, the way people talk about him. So you don't even have an advantage in that aspect of it. So the Cardinals is an interesting team too, because I don't think Kyler Murray is a franchise quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. But I've never thought that. Like, if you listen to me talk last year on the show, I've never thought Kyler Murray was a franchise quarterback, just a very good quarterback at times. But it'll be interesting to see how that play out also. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. And listen, bro, come back, share, like, subscribe, bro. We releasing them videos. It's going to be a great off season, bro. That's all I'm going to tell you. But listen, you could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Please, Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home.